certified as a PhD qualification. And number 6 is the number of publication. You see, what we are going to discuss today is how to write a paper. But very importantly, in order for a university to be ranked internationally, they must have the number of publication. When they have the number of publication, they will also have the number of citation. When they have the number of citation, the number of H index. So these are the important element. And then the lecturers and student ratio, and last but not least is the number of students for inbound mobility program. So now, if you look, one of the 3 main important things that an institution is needed to be ranked and internationally in QS ranking is that they must have number of publication, they must have number of citation, they must have number of H index. How actually these things work? Okay, the moment a researcher works or publish a research article, basically, as the researcher publish more research article, the more citation will be there. The more the citation, the higher will be the H index. That is how the ecology of these 3 elements. Again, the more you publish your paper, the more citation you will have. The more citation you will have, you will increase your H index larger. So these are the process of the important things that we need to know. So next, now let's look. Next slide, please. Let's look. Where we need to publish? Okay. Basically, there are 3 areas of levels of prestigious, or we would say that there are 3 levels of difficulty of prestigious where to publish. Number 1 is publishing in a conference proceeding. Number 2 is publishing in a non-index journal. Number 3 is publishing in an index journal. Okay, next. What is actually a conference proceeding? What is actually a non-index journal? And what is actually an index journal? Right. An index journal is actually a journal which is indexed when its bibliographic and citation information is included by the citation data suppliers. For research universities like University Putra Malaysia, the citation data supplier is Scopus and the Web of Science. This is what we call it as an index journal. Okay, next. If we look, as I said to you, in order for a person or in order for a researcher to be visible internationally, he or she need to publish in ISI journal. For example, we have Q4, Q3, Q2, Q1 journal. These are the journals which is categorized under ISI journal, where if you publish your work in this journal, then you will get a better visibility. You will get higher credibility, and you will have a good incentive. So sometimes some universities, if you publish in a Q1 and Q2 journal, they will provide you with good incentive as a token of appreciation for researchers who publish their manuscript or their work in high reputed journal or high impact factor journal or high quartile journal. High quartile journal is Q1, Q2 journal, or top 1% journal or top 10% journal. These are the type of journal which is could be a potential place for all researchers in order for you to publish your work. So always remember, I would like to share one experience that I have undergo during this MCO. So in Malaysia, the movement control order started in 18th of March 2020. So when the movement control order started in Malaysia on 18 March 2020, we were all, I believe the whole world has been facing the problem of COVID-19. So totally all universities are locked down, all government offices, everything was shut down. So during this we as a researcher or we as a academic, what can we do is we have to think of ways for us to write a research article. So what I did was I wrote on a week after 18th of March, which is on the 25th of March, I started to draft. I started to have a team of my group, a member, which is headed by myself, and I have my 2 postdocs. I have my staff from UPM Press, and I invited the Vice Chancellor of UPM and also some deans from the Health Sciences, Medicine and Health Sciences Dean, the Faculty of Engineering Dean, and also the Corporate Communication Office Director. And I formed a group of 7 to 8 people. So what I did, I started to write about a paper on write a paper on COVID-19 action taken by Malaysian government. I start writing the paper, so managed to finish within 2 weeks time. So we submitted the paper manuscript on 11th of April. So the moment when I submit the paper on 11th of April, I submitted it to the highest level of publication, which is I submitted it to Nature, to Nature Journal, which is everyone, all the researchers, one of their interests, one of their aim is at least in their lifetime, they wanted to publish in the Nature. Nature is one of the most highly prestigious and highly impact factor paper in this current situation. So I submitted my paper there. Unfortunately, the paper has been rejected. The paper has been rejected after a week from the submission. And the comment given was because the paper was too lengthy, because it's almost 20 pages, and Nature only accept papers which is between 5 to 6 pages. So I found difficulties, and I didn't get the chance to publish that. The second, I submitted to another Q1 journal. When I submitted to another Q1 journal, again, it was rejected. Then I submitted to another Q1 journal after 3 days. Again, after a few days, it was rejected. And finally, by end of April, I submitted it to another Q2 journal, and this time the editor-in-chief accepted the paper and the review process started. When the review process started, so now I have received the comment and I've replied to the comment, and hopefully this paper will be published soon within the MCO period. So what I would like to tell you here is that always have a high hope. Whenever you wanted to publish your paper, make sure you put the highest level of publication that you're going to submit. Do not just put okay, I just wanted to publish in a normal ranked journal. No, put yourself, have a high hope. Tell yourself that you wanted to submit this piece of journal into a high ranked journal, and if you fail to do that, at least your journal is being published in ISI journal and not in a normal Scopus journal. So that is what the idea, the motivation that we must have in order for us to publish our work. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. If you look at this cartoon here, if you look at this cartoon here, it's a sketch of a person who wanted to publish the work. So you see the bold-headed person wearing a spectacle is holding a piece of journal. So in order for his journal to be accepted, he has to undergo, you see, the 6 people there before the paper is being accepted. Previous slide, please. Previous slide. Oh, okay. So if you look here, there are 6 people, 6 hurdles that a person has to face before the paper could be accepted. Next. Just put publish and perish. Not this one. Slide number 10, please. Slide number 10. Do not move the slide until I ask to do so. Okay. So we have 6 hurdles that a person has to face. So what are the hurdles? So the moment you submit your research article, the first hurdle that you're going to face is you're going to face the editor-in-chief. The moment you submit your research article, the first person that will your work will be the editor-in-chief. So the moment the editor-in-chief look at your paper, and if your paper is not to the standard of the required standard from that particular journal, your paper will be rejected at the first point. Therefore, we must always make sure before we submit our manuscript, always make sure that you follow. Always make sure that you follow the guideline that has been given by the journal, that you follow the guidelines so that you submit, so that your paper at least can be accepted for review. So if you don't follow the guideline from the journal, it is quite hard for your journal to undergo the review process. So that is the first hurdle. If the first hurdle you fail, definitely your paper will be rejected. So now, if the chief editor, he look at your manuscript and he says that okay, he can proceed this manuscript with a peer review, then 3 reviewers, the remaining 3 people there, the 3 reviewers, your paper will be sent for 3 reviewers. So what the reviewers will do now is the reviewer will start to review your manuscript. The reviewer will try to provide their comments. The reviewer will provide their comments and they will say that your journal to be accepted will be high. So now the problem is when the majority of the reviewer does not agree or disagree with publication, then your paper will be rejected. That's where the 3 people there holding a big weapon waiting for their manuscript to be rejected. Then we have another person. So once this has been discussed, when this has been done, or let's, for example, if all the reviewers accepted your comment, accepted your manuscript by giving their comment, so all the comment will be done. So once the comment is being carried out by the author, and then they submitted again to review. He found that sometime reviewer, the editor-in-chief might not send it to the reviewer, but he might review by himself, and he may also think that you may not answer the comment clearly, your paper might be rejected. The comment has been addressed properly. Last stage, if the editor-in-chief still wants to reject your paper after all comments have been rectified, he has all the right to do so. So, in order for a paper to be published, you need to make sure all these hurdles to be faced, and you must make sure you can really go through this hurdle in order for your paper to be published or to be accepted. So this is the important thing. So next, if you look here, the Nobel laureates, the Nobel laureate physicist Wolfgang Pauli. Next. The Wolfgang Pauli mentioned that. Can you go to next slide? The Nobel laureate physicist, which is Wolfgang Pauli, mentioned that I don't mind you thinking slowly, but I mind your publishing faster than you think. So he's really scared that people can publish faster than a person can think. Okay, next slide. Okay, these are six things to do before writing your manuscript. 6 things to do before you write your manuscript. What are the 6 things? Okay, number 1, think about what you wanted to publish. Think about why you want to publish your work and whether it is published. Number 2, decide what type of manuscript to write. Either it is a full research article, or short communication, or a review article. Number 3, choose the target journal. Number 4, pay attention to journal's requirement in the guide for author, as I mentioned earlier. Number 5, pay attention to the structure of the paper. And number 6, understand publication ethics to avoid violation. These are the 6 things that you need to do before you write your manuscript. Okay, next, please. What are the do and don'ts? What are the do or don'ts that you have to look? Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, what are the do and do not? So a specific paper, a scientific paper, should present only the fact in an unbiased manner. Number 2, a scientific paper should be clear, concise, and complete. Number 3, use fact to make statement. Only use fact to make statement. And number 4, be complete enough that other scientists can repeat your work or your research paper. So a scientific paper should not be haphazard, jumbled, and illogical. A scientific paper should not be used as your own personal soapbox. And a scientific paper should not reach conclusion not based on evidence reported. And number 4, a scientific paper should not be for insiders only. So these are the things that has to be really seen as the do and don'ts for writing a paper. Okay, next. Before starting to write, you must consider this question. Number 1, what is the message of the paper? Number 2, what was the mystery that you wanted to answer at the start? Number 3, what is the new results or contribution institution that you wanted to describe? Number 4, what do you want to convince people of? Number 5, have you answered it? And number 6, what first got you excited about the area of that particular research? So these are the things that you need to consider before writing a paper. Next, please. Next slide. Prior to writing, it is important to establish that the topic of the manuscript is likely to be consistent with the aim and scope of the journal. Always make sure when you write a research topic, your manuscript must be consistent with the aim and scope of the journal. Number 2, go through several recent issues published by that specific journal. Meaning to say, try to put at least 2 or 3 cite some of the journal, at least 2 or 3 papers cite in order for your manuscript to be accepted. Number 3, it is essential to carefully read and follow the guidelines for authors published within the journal or obtained directly from the editor or publisher. And last but not least, authors' guideline actually include rules about word limit, organization of the manuscript, margin, line space, preparation of table and figures, and the method used to cite references. Okay, next slide, please. So research to writing, which is a journey. Yeah, research to writing, a journey. So what is actually needed in order to structure an article? What you need is, number 1, you need to write an abstract. Number 2, you need to write an introduction. Number 3, you need to write about the material and the methods. Number 4, results and discussion. Number 5, summary and conclusion. Number 6, acknowledgement. And number 7, references. These are the things that you needed in order to write an article. What is that? Abstract. Number 2, introduction. Number 3, material and method, which is methodology. Number 4, results and discussion. Number 5, summary and conclusion. Number 6, acknowledgement. And number 7, references. These are the structure and function of an article. Okay, next please. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, as I mentioned, these are the structure of a function of an article. All right. So the writing process, of an particular article will be rewriting, then writing, then you revise again, then you rewrite, then you proofread, then only you publish your particular article. One of the most important thing is avoid plagiarism. Plagiarism is one of the most important things that you need to avoid. Remember, any papers which is having a similarity above 20%, that paper is actually a weak paper because the number of similarities found in that particular paper is quite high. In order for you to publish in high-ranked journal, your similarities index must be very, very minimal, and it is one of the ethics and requirement for your paper to be published. Okay, next. So the other slide is actually a summary of what I have mentioned to you. So now the time is 1:25. I'm sorry, I have to stop now because 1:30 is the last time, final time given to me. You have started late, sorry, because 1:30 I have to stop, and then I have another webinar session 1:45 that I have to attend. So I think that's all that I can provide you. I hope that next time when you are organizing webinar, try to be on time, because speakers are ready on time. So start your session on time, because that is one of the requirement, the one of the way for a professional way of conducting webinar is time punctuality. 9, if you say 10 o'clock you start, whether people are there or not, you have to start on time. That is timekeeping. So I think I would open up maybe 1 or 2 questions before we end up this session. Thank you. Can we have 1 or 2 questions? Can you have 1 or 2 questions?
Hello, அது கீழ இருக்கா?
Do you have 1 or 2 questions?
Sir, good morning, sir. Sir,
Yeah, good morning.
Can you suggest how to write a research proposals?
Come again?
Can you suggest how to write a research proposals? Can you give me some basic ideas? Yes.
Of research proposal. So research proposal, whenever you do a research proposal, you must have this element. Number 1, you must have introduction. You must have the problem statement. Number 4, you must have hypothesis. Number 5, you must have a bit of literature review. And number 6, you must have an idea on how your thesis gonna be look like, a layout of your particular thesis. These are the 6 things that you need to know. All right. Any other question?
Thank you, Professor Tariq.
Hello.
Hello. I am pleasure to thank all the participants this time, and then this is the first time to handle this kind of webinar in online. So our people having a lot of struggle to share the PPT and then change the PPT also. So once again, I sorry to all the participants and Prof. Tariq. Next time we will do better. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Prof. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prof. And thank you, everyone.
I hope that this session benefit all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, please forward the PPT, sir. Please forward the PPT. Sir, are you listening, sir? Please forward the PPT. Please forward the PPT.
Thank you, Professor. Thanks a lot, Professor.
Thank you, Professor. Thanks a lot, Professor.
Thank you.